Good. Growing, growing. So we are live with our weekly trainings on Fridays. This is little extra, and what we're gonna cover today it's four key components which you really need to get down the pine. Come on, you can come through, no problems. Yeah, we have people in person attending our event. So if you want to come in person to our location Bayside, definitely shoot a comment over there and I'll get you over here. So if you really want to be successful, guys, can you see this? Can you all see this? Yeah, yeah. There's really four things we got to make sure, right? The four W's: where, what, why, and who. So the first where, it really stands for where we going, right? And not only where we going this week, this year, but where we going to be in 10 years. What is the audacious big goals you have, right? Do you want to have a house? Do you still want to live in New York, or do you want to maybe move to Miami like Josh, right? Like what your day is going to look like, what your life is going to look like. Are you still going to be working 7 days a week or 6 days a week? Or are you going to be spending more time with your family, maybe traveling, right? So really think about it. Take the time and really think, what your life is going to look like in 10 years. And to tell you the truth, most of us, we don't think about it. We're kind of winging it. We're like, you know what, it's too far away, or I don't want to set some goals and they get disappointed, or I don't want to set some things because what if I don't have what it takes, right? So anything is really achievable, but clarity it's really important, because if you're not clear on your goals, right, in terms of where you're going, you're never gonna reach them. So where your goals, where you're going with this. Now the goals, they have to be a smart goals, right? So when I say a smart goals, I mean they have to be specific. So what exactly you are after, right? They have to be measurable. So the activities you have, that's something you can actually measure, right? It's not just you saying, hey, I'll buy a car. Okay, but what kind of car are you gonna buy? How much that car is gonna actually cost you, and by when you're gonna want it to have the car, right? So it's gotta be measurable, it's gotta be actionable. It has to be something you actually can take action on, right? So you just don't say, you know what, I want to get smarter. Okay, good, but how are you gonna get smarter? You know what, I'm gonna read one book per month. That's measurable, right? That's gonna get you the what you're after, right? So it has to be actionable. It has to be realistic. And you know what? I hate that word realistic, because what it does for a lot of people, it shoots them down, because they're always just looking at where I am or who I am, and when I need to get somewhere, it's like I can't become that person, right? So I don't like that word, but at the same time, the goal needs to be realistic, because if you're a brand new agent, and trust me, there's some brand new agents which have pretty big goals which are not realistic, and they're like, I'll sell 100 homes my first year, but I never sold one home, right? Is that going to happen? Most likely not, because you have to really see, okay, realistically, how much can I stretch myself? And there's to be a timeline on it. So it's not just saying, you know what, I will get a house, but when you're going to get the house? By when you're going to retire? When is going to be to retire? And don't just give me a year, but give me the exact date. Is it going to be beginning of the year, mid of the year, end of the year? Right? So the goals has to be smart. So number one, where are we going? Now, this is not going to work if we don't have the why, because this is way deeper. A lot of agents, they just say, you know what, I want to sell certain number of homes, I want to buy investments, I want to travel, because everybody say it and it kind of sounds cool. But on the deep level of who you are and what's your real why, maybe you don't need such a big goals. Maybe you can already do the things right now without selling 30 homes a year, right? So really go deeper and discover, who is Natalia? What makes you you? What makes you special, right? We don't spend the time on that. because we always want to be like somebody else's, right? We see somebody successful and we say, I want to be like that guy. But maybe there's a conflict within you. Maybe who you are on the deeper level, it's not that person. So by you trying to impose those goals and that why, because somebody else have those goals, you're gonna be misaligned. And because you are misaligned, you're never gonna take action on it, right? So your goals, they have to be aligned of who you are. If they're not aligned of who you are, you're never gonna take action on it, right? So we have to spend a lot of time on really looking into ourselves. Because you know what? End of the day, it comes down to how much do you understand yourself? And you have to understand yourself better than anybody else. Why is that important? Because do we give ourselves excuses all the time, right? There's 40,000 thoughts we have every single day. And most of them are BS thoughts. Most of them are BS thoughts, right? We are so good at fooling ourselves, me, myself included. Look, I always try to catch myself every single day on my BS stories, right? But understanding ourselves better will have the ability to really catch ourselves before we do so, right? So it's always you versus you. It's not you versus the world, right? Because it's about just moving the needle, every day, little by little, right? So who you are, it matters the most because of who you are right now get you to where you are right now. And if you want to go somewhere else, you're gonna have to change. A lot of things gonna have to change, right? We are who we are based upon our habits, good and bad. We all have it. You might be waking up early and hitting the gym. I might not, because that's something you may be used to do it for many many years. So now you're doing it without even thinking about you doing it. So for us to really become that person who we need to be, we have to be cautious of those qualities and those habits we have, right? But again, it comes down to really understanding ourselves better than anybody else and having the ability to make those adjustments to it, right? And what we need to do to get us to the goals, right? So we need to know where we're going, why we're going there, what do we need to do to get there, and who we have to become in the process to achieve those goals. So far, so good, everybody. Everybody, for it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
But you know what, guys? By the way,
It's a big change.
it's a big change. It's a life change, right? Now, this doesn't just apply to real estate.
No.
This applies to anything we do in life, any business, any sport, any studies, anything you want to do in life. This applies. This is super important. Okay. So what do we need to do, right? Okay. So if your goal, we're talking about real estate now, Natalia. If your goal is to sell 20 homes a year, what do you need to do? How many people you need to speak with? Where are you going to speak with the people? Where are you going to get the conversations from? Right? How often are you going to speak with them? What value are you going to give them? It's not just calling them over the phone. It's not just texting them, but what type of value you're going to be giving them over and over and over again. So you're actually going to earn their business. And when they're ready to transact or they know someone, they're giving it to you because you earn that business. That's the plan, right? So, and then again, it becomes to the who person to be able to execute on. Okay. So far, so good. Yes. So let's go into the who, because the who is the most important. That's really where the transformation happens. So there's few qualities, guys, which I did observe, which we need to have. The first quality is working hard. Working hard. And you know what? Let me take the word working out of it because nobody wants to work, right? Like I say working hard, you're like, my God, John, you have to work in this job. I mean,
No, I see it.
but let me change it and say doing your best. Does that sound better? Right? Because doing your best applies to your kid, to your kids. Doing your best applies to your health. Doing your best applies to your business. Doing your best applies to your friends, right? Like doing your best applies to anything. And again, it's really about who you are, right? Doing the best. It's a habit. A lot of the things you have to really be taught of that, right? So doing your best every single day. Doesn't matter the circumstance, doesn't matter it's raining, just do your best. If you do your best every single day, you will improve because you're doing your best and you will get the result you after. So you always got to do your best. The second quality, which is really important, is the ability to change. And the ability to change, you could also say coachable, right? Uh, Growth mindset, but the ability to change at any given point. Because, like I said, if you want to go where you want to go, there's going to have to be a lot of changes in your life, right? We're going to have to cleanse ourselves of some bad habits, and we're going to have to bring in some good habits. Now, I tell you, habits are not easy to form, and they're harder to form as you get older, right? For you to form a new habit, it's going to be a lot harder than for Agatha, because Agatha, she's young, she's fresh, she doesn't have so many habits. Everything is new to her and exciting, right? So she's more likely to, willing to learn something new, right? So really, be willing to change and be open-minded and be almost like the sponge to be able to absorb the information and process the information and implement the information. That's the key. Okay. So being coachable. Now, another one is being honest. Who's honest over here?
100%.
Most of the time.
I try to.
Most of the time.
I
We
try to.
try, right? And why is that important to you guys to be honest? Why is that important?
A good question.
Well, I think it's important for many reasons. I think the first one, being honest with myself first, right? That's like the most important one, because if I'm not honest with myself about certain things and I'm fooling myself over again, right? I don't see what I have to do. And if I cannot be honest with myself, then how can I be honest with other people, right? Now, honestly, you guys have friends, like a childhood friends for many many years, right? I have some friends like that, and let me tell you, when I can be honest with them about anything and everything, right? Like we can talk. I'm not afraid to share certain things that they're gonna judge me and they're gonna look at me a certain way, because we have an honest relationship. Like if I say something and I'm honest, they're not gonna shoot me down, right? They might not agree with me on that thing, but they're not gonna judge me, right? And I realize as we get older, it is very hard for us to be connected with other people,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But really,
I'm close in that. Like.
to be close, right? It's hard to form a new relationships. But in order for you to form those relationships, like it starts with honesty, right? It starts with being open and share things and connect with people. And if you cannot connect what's here and who you are and what you're thinking, and you're honest and you share with people, how can we connect? So in perspective with our clients, like they can feel it. They can feel we're not sharing. They can feel we almost like withholding some information for whatever reason, right? So honesty is really important, extremely important, right? So we gotta be honest for those qualities. Another quality could be we gotta serve first and sell second. Meaning, we have to do the things for the right reasons, and that's a tough one, because when you're struggling financially and you're trying to put a food on the table, and you're trying to close that deal so you can get paid, and now you have to tell them the truth and the deal's going to fall apart. It's tough, right? But really, when you are honest with the customer, they know, and they appreciate it. And if they're gonna buy, which I think most people will buy, end of the day, who they're gonna buy? Would you buy from? Somebody who's honest with you, or somebody who has maybe been holding some information from you, right? So I mean, being honest, it forms a better relationship, better quality relationship, and maybe you would have less relationship because you're honest, right? That happens too, but you would have deeper relationship and more impactful relationship, right? So being honest, that's super important. Now, another quality which I see a lot of people missing, especially real estate agents, is being disciplined. And I think discipline, it's like a muscle, right? A lot of these things, by the way, guys, it's a muscle, right? It's something what we gain throughout our life by going through life, right? Me personally, I think I'm pretty consistent, pretty disciplined when it comes to a lot of things. I'm not so disciplined when it comes to different things. I know that, but I'm pretty disciplined. The reason is because when I used to grow up under very disciplined, structured regime, right? From morning we had a structure, we had to do things. There were certain expectation, right? So it's definitely a taught behavior. I know you're not definitely born with it, but that's something you have to really work towards, right? Because what discipline is going to do for you, it's going to help you the form the who, right? You can go for whatever you want, but if you're not disciplined to really follow through on your commitments, on your promises to yourself, right? What it does, you will never get the results, number one, right? And also what it does, it creates that doubt and lack of confidence in you. Because end of the day, if you tell yourself, you know what, John, I will wake up every day, I will read a book, and I will do this and I will do that, and you don't do it, I might not know about it, right? But you know about it, what you're doing, what you're not doing, right? So subconsciously, you creating this vicious cycle. When next time you commit to something, or you already know, hey, you already failed at this, so it's okay to fail at that too. It's just who you are, right? It creates that vicious cycle of habits, right? So we really have to be cautious. Here's the tough part. I'll do it tomorrow. Not today, I'll do it next time. Just this last time, I'll do this. You're fooling yourself right there. Because if you really want something in your life, you have to do it now. The now is all what we have, guys. Yeah, I'm saying go for the year, go for the 10 years, but what's life? Life is now. Life is in the present, right? So if we're not making the changes in our present, we will never have the results in our future, right? So really, those are some of the qualities which we need to be really super, super cautious of. And last but not the least, it's positive attitude, being positive. Because what it does, right? When you are positive and when you're optimistic, right? In any situation, good, bad, what it's going to do, you will always look at the lessons. You will always look, you know what? My family left me because for whatever reason, but what are the lessons? What did I learn from it? And how honestly, like they not being in my life, what is the positive in my life right now? And now I have the space for other people. Who else can I fill that space with? And maybe, yeah, maybe I lost those people, but maybe I can replace it with something even better, right? So really being positive and optimistic, and maybe believing in something higher than us, right? Like if you believe in if the higher power, that there's something or someone else in control of this whole world and the situation, how is it happening? Then whatever comes your way, Alhamdulillah, thank you, God. This is supposed to happen to me. You know what? I welcome it. What is the lesson? right? So being positive, it's super impactful. And also, you know what? This is life. It's the present. It's a lot more joyful too. If you always like, ah man, what I do, what I don't do, that's not life. Like you don't want to live their life. I think a goal for everyone is to be happy and to be at peace. That's the ultimate goal, right? So what I want you to do, guys, I really want us to work on the where. 10 years. Okay, you guys taking notes? This is recorded, by the way. But you take notes, it's just you retain it better, right? You can take it on, notes in Apple or even shoot yourself a text. But where you going, right? Where we going to be in 10 years? Where we going to be in 5 years? And where we need to be this year. And sometimes, Natalia, when we don't have that, and it's not up and visual, and it's not on top of our minds, we tend to forget it, and we let the minor things in life take a priority, right? Like the daily things. Also, I think the word which is coming to me over and over and over again, it's sacrifice. It's sacrifice. Because let me tell you, if you want something new in your life, you have to give something what you have in your life. If you want to become somebody else, somebody better, you have to give out the old you. If you want to have new relationship in your life, better people in your life, you're gonna have to give up those other people in your life. That's just life. That's just life. And for us, it's so hard as people to give that old thing which is known to us, which feels secure, because that's the way our brain actually was built to make us feel secure, right? As animals. But we can override that. So think about it, really where we going with this. And I mean, look, you could be retiring 10 years. You could be having your place in DR. You can have the craziest life you ever imagined. Like anything is possible, right? But you got to know where you're going with this. Like what direction are you looking in? Because no matter where you look, automatically you will start moving in that direction. So 10, 5, 1, okay. I want to know your why. Why is that important to you? Like serious, like why you need to have those investments. I had a conversation with one of the brokers actually in New York. Been in the business for about 35 years. She's an older lady. She's in her 60s, getting ready to retire. So we talked about it. I said, where you want to be, when you want to retire. She said, I want to retire in 2 years. How this is going to look, where you're going to go, what you're going to have, what's your why. And guess what? She's ready to retire now. She's ready to retire now. Like everything she already has. She has everything she needs already. So what else is she missing? She's not missing anything. She thinks she was missing something. The only reason why she was missing because she never did this and she never did that. She didn't take the time to think about it. So the moment you start thinking about this more and more, like, why do I need so much money? Oh, I really don't need it, right? So think about that. I would like to see some type of a plan. I know we did a business plan together, right? But I would like to see some type of a plan from you. You smart enough to get a good plan in place, which we can polish along the way. But I would like to see some plan. Could you want to sell 10 homes this year? Because those are the reasons you need to sell those homes. Because in life, you're not going to get what you want. You're going to get what you need in life. That's a big difference, right? So you will get that because this is why you need it, right? You can give me some plan. Hey, I want to sell 12 homes. Where the 12 homes going to come from? Maybe database, maybe door knock, maybe open house, maybe, your past clients or COIs, whatever the case is. Try to come up with some plan, right? But this plan, it's not going to work. You're not going to come up with a good plan unless you figure this out and figure this out. So I know you looking at me, you give me that look. Start over here. Don't even think about a plan yet. Okay? You spend the time over here. Yeah? Now who? Who you have to become. And now, you know what? This is really important because if you don't have the right character, right? Even though when the opportunity appears, you're not going to be able to take advantage of the opportunity, right? So the who you have to become, it's super important. What I want you to start with is, I want you to write down your bad habits. What are my bad habits? I can go first. Well, I still smoke. That's a bad habit. I still don't pray as much as I should. That's a bad habit.
Mine maybe is sometimes I'm negative. Oh, I don't know if that's an habit. I don't have bad habits like that.
You don't have bad habits? Well, that's a bad habit. You think
Yeah.
you don't have bad habit. That's a bad habit already, right?
Give me an example.
Give example. Let's say you always show up late. That's one example.
No, I don't. I do things before.
I give
I do
an
a lot
I
of
give
hours in my day.
I give an example. You I don't think you're super honest with yourself. Like this, what you're saying that you have no time. How much time is in the day?
Well, I do believe I'm not honest with myself. I am fighting with it every day.
Every day.
I look at the mirror and I said, really, Diana, is that serious? And that sometimes I don't feel like to take a Coco outside, and I know that he wants, and I said,
Mhm.
Diana, I don't think that you feel so bad. Come on, try.
So
And I fight with this. Another bad hobby that I having right now that I feel guilty is that I have a church 2 blocks away
from
me.
your place.
And I have the time right now to be
To go.
going to the church, and I'm not doing it.
You have
This
to
is
build
a
a habit.
very bad habit.
You have to build a habit. Yeah, you have to just build it. Just go once, go second time, go third time, right? So I just want to stay on this point, okay?
Maybe be late.
Being late, right? How many hours in a day?
No, it's 24, but we
No,
can
so
get to sleep.
you see, when you 24,
Yes.
24, right?
Yeah, that's my bad habit.
Oh my bad, Abby, maybe
Oh,
go to the bed
rushing.
late.
I the only one who, so you have 24 hours, right?
Go to the bed late.
Hold on, stop there. You have 24 hours a day. How many you have?
24.
24. How many I have? 24, right? So what does that mean? It means that we play the same game. There's no difference, right? Now the challenge which you have, everyone has. The challenge which you have, you got to do this, 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 things, right? Now we each different in terms of what habits we have in doing certain things, right? Like you're doing your laundry pretty consistently. You're doing your shopping you're doing certain things pretty consistently because that's a habit. You're used to do those things. It doesn't mean that you do the laundry for yourself. Me too, right? Like we all have those things, but how and where we do them, it's different. And there's different based upon our habits, right? So don't think about what you do. Think about what you need to do, when, how, right? And then you do the rest. So you're always going to have more things than you can do in 24 hours, by the way. That's always the case. But one of the tools, guys, which helps you, can you stretch this? Can you get 26 hours out of the day? No? No, you cannot do more. But what can you do? Now, if this thing takes you 1 hour, right? The laundry takes 1 hour. Now, what you can do, you just can do the thing faster. That's one, right? Second, you can do, you do it another time.
You what?
You do it another time. Third thing you can do, you delegate it to somebody else. You think Bill Gates does his laundry?
So to who? Oh, yo,
That's
oh,
not.
yo,
But
yes.
not. But you see, don't give up on you. You see what you just did. You still trying to be the person who you are, and
No, but give me an example to who I can.
Your
delegate
mom.
My,
your mom.
my mom is working. And I have
Hire
to work
somebody.
today del patrón, I need
Hire
the
some.
uniform
Hire somebody once a week.
in the morning. I'm trying to save
Well,
money.
But that's what I'm saying. But look, you're saving money by doing what? You spend an hour over here where you can pay somebody $15
And
an
I
hour.
just pay 1 hour. I spend 1 hour and a half.
Okay, so hold on, stay with me. So you 15 hours for 1 hour, right? That you can pay somebody, and your worth is under $50 an hour selling real estate. Well, guess what? You do in the laundry, you didn't save nothing. You actually lose $135.
But you can tell that to somebody who's working in real estate for 3 years, no,
You
in
can
like 6
drop it.
months.
You can drop it to the laundry.
Yeah, but I
and
need to
then
pay.
pick it up.
So look, so look, another solution. So you see what you're making? See what she's doing? She's fooling herself. You see, you're not honest with yourself. Because me and Daniel, we see it clearly. Hey, you can do the laundry another day. Don't do it in the morning when you're supposed to make people calls.
So in the afternoon,
Evening.
in the evening,
Yeah.
during the week.
Yeah.
Okay.
During the week or weekend.
No,
do-
weekend I work. Remember, I work until 1
yeah.
a.m.
So during the week.
Okay.
So you can do it another time. Right? Or you delegate it, or you don't do it. It's simple as that, right? Because look, I give you another example of what you're not looking at right now with that laundry, because you don't have what? You don't have the list. So what happens? I tell you, who wants to know what super ultra successful people do? Because they, by the way, they also have 24 hours a day. Right? You guys don't want to know? No? I can skip it?
No.
You guys want to know?
Yes.
Of course.
All right. So what the successful people do, they always looking to get better in doing those things. Right? So if they're making calls, they thinking like, how can I make the calls faster and be better? How can I talk to more people? Maybe get a dialer instead of calling them, one by one. So they always looking, hey, how can I get better? How can I do these things faster and get better results out of it, right? Another thing is they delegate a lot of the stuff. Like I delegate a lot of the stuff too. I don't do a lot of the stuff, right? I delegate because you know what? You can be just on so many places, at a certain time. You're not going to be able to be everywhere, right? So you have to learn on how to delegate the stuff. That's a skill, by the way. Okay. Now, most of the time what happens, it's another time, because this is a skill of prioritization, right? And you know what? Some of the stuff they just didn't do it because you can't do everything, right? So you have to decide. I'm not saying wear the dirty laundry for a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? So how do they do it? It's simple, right? You can never be reactive to life. Versus you have to be proactive to your plan, because you know what? if I go back, this is the hard part, Natalia. Where are you going? What you need to do? A lot of these things, it's going to be the what is the bigger picture, and that's why who you are, right? So if I go back here, and it's actually easier than you think it is. You just take little time and effort and discipline to get that right habit. What you should do every single day in the morning. You're doing the schedule now in the morning, right? That's the reason you're doing it in the morning. You have your task list, or you can say priority list, right? And everything goes here. Laundry, CSU training, buyer presentation, right? Shopping, everything goes here. Why? Because I'm a big fan of wars and history, because I think you learn a lot in that. It's a real life situations. You see, the way you're doing it now, you are like the soldier in the trenches, in the first line, like fighting, and what you see, it's just this, right? Who you need to be the general. You need to be the guy in the back, in the battlefield, who not just see the trench, sees the trench, the first line, the second line, the third line. He sees the sides he sees the enemy. He knows the plan. He knows the strategies, right? You need to see the whole thing, because Natalia, stay with me. Don't take it personal. Be coachable, guys. Yes, I'm here to help you. Why? Because there's way too many things for you to know in that moment. Is this the best place and best thing you're putting yourself into? And most of the time it's not. Right? So when you have those priorities, because you see everything clearly and say, don't just look today. Be looking at the 10-year, right? The problem is we don't give the value to the things which are going to impact us in 10 years, right? Laundry, you're doing laundry. If you do laundry, in 10 years, you still do laundry. Well, you will if you keep on doing it. Like I said, if you stay the same way you are and you don't change none of those habits, and you're still going to do the same thing, your schedule going to look the same, nothing's going to change. Let's be honest. So really, there's going to be a point in your time when you're not going to do laundry, you're not going to do shopping, you're not going to do cooking if you don't enjoy it, right? Because there's going to be just way more important things for you to do. Right now, the challenge is you have to change. You used to do the laundry. You used to do the shopping. You used to do all of those things. And I was happy there's different things in your life which they need to get done. And you have to give something out, or do it faster, or do it another time, or maybe delegate some of the stuff, or maybe don't do some of the stuff at all. That's why you need that plan. Okay. So what I would say, you have to write every single thing down. And when you have everything down, take the time with it, guys. It's, what's the hardest part? To do it from the beginning. But once you do it once and you have the list, then you're just adding to it and you're taking stuff out, right? So not only you have the whole list, now you can look at the whole list and say, okay, what is really the number one priority? Well, it's this. This is number one. Okay, what is the second priority? Oh, it's this. What is the third one? Oh, it's this. Oh, laundry is like number 10. Yes, I'm not doing laundry. Let me schedule this in my schedule, right? So now what you can do, you have your schedule, right? This is morning, which is pretty much taken, right? And you're going to have slot over here. You're going to have slot over here, and you might have slot over here. I'm just making everybody's schedule a little different, right? And what you do, you say, okay, this thing goes right here. Okay, this thing goes right here. This thing goes right here. And now when you spend that 24 hours, this is a currency, guys, we have in life. Right? This is the biggest currency we have in our life. It's our time. You know, I'm freaking out because I'll be 40 in May. Merry Christmas. I'm freaking out. I spoke to Sana yesterday. I said, you know what?
What we're gonna do? We need a party.
We really gotta. Yeah, we will. We will. That's gonna be one to remember. But I said, you know, I'll be 40, and
You're doing great.
I checked off a lot of the boxes in my life, to tell you the truth. You know, when I came to US, my goal was, before coming, I was young and foolish, of course. I was about 20 years old, and for good to stay, finish my studies. Right. I used to come to US when I was 14 by myself on a plane to work in a restaurant, 15, 16, all those years. But when I was 20, I come for good. Right. And my original goal was £1,000,000, which is about $50,000. I make the money. I'll go back to Europe. I'll open up a small bar with slot machines. I was like, that's the peak, man. You know, and I did that in a year. I was like, I got that. What else? Okay, it would be nice to make $100,000 a year, right? It was like the goal. I was like, you know, who makes $100,000 a year? That's the baller. I did that on my third year. I made $100,000 a year. Say, okay, what's the next goal? And I keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. But then you realize who you are and what you do. You don't need to have different goals anymore, really, because you've done all of it, right? So that target is constantly moving for you. But you have to be aware what your schedule is and what it needs to be.
So retire and then do my loan.
No, you can.
You know?
Well, I would charge you like $5,000, $10,000 for laundry, right? Because I know my work now. You see, like, again, I have 24 hours. I don't even do my loans. What are yours? I know where can I put myself because I've done this, guys. Like what you're going through now, I've gone through this before, so I know those pains. I have those pains too. By the way, those pains, if you always want to get better, you want to improve, and you want more, right? And you want to have better habits and different things, like this is always going to be there. It's just part of life. Like I said, this just doesn't apply to real estate. This applies to anything you do in life. So who's with me on this? Who's going to do where, why, write some bad and good habits, and what you need to do the plan? Yes, question?
No. You say who are with you.
We're raising the hand. I love that. So are you on as well? For you viewers, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate. Please ask it. If you don't ask, you just don't know. And I would encourage you that, you know, the present, the today, it's not granted. It's being given to us as a gift and as a blessing. So if you really want to go after and you want to change your life, if you want to make your life better, the time is now for you to take the action. Execution is the key, but you need to know where you're going, why you're going there, like why is it important to you, what you need to do, what's the game plan, what are the steps, and who you are and who you need to become. What are some of the bad habits you have, and what are some of the good habits you need to bring in. So I hope you guys find this helpful. Peace out, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you.
Good job.